Wait a minute. That sounded fake. That sounded like you just put something on it.
That did.
All right, aroma dance. You sound good. Hold on. Let's get some more sound. That's the growler's lid in the tip. Oh, it's the second episode of 2-episode day.
When I was in high school, I would pretend, when I was first learning to do dishes, I would pretend that I was doing a lot of dishes really fast just by making a lot of noise.
That's pretty much how Neil does chores.
Yeah. And my mom got real mad at me one time. She's like,
Sick
what the hell are you doing?
Julie? And what did you say?
Dishes.
Just doing the dishes. No, you know what? I want to throw it out to Neil, though. He really is awesome at chores. He does them, which I know a lot of people don't. So I love you very much, Neil.
I have a Roomba.
Is it DJ Roomba? Do you put your iPod on it and run
Julie is just getting into parts.
I just started parts.
So she just met DJ Roomba.
I just met DJ Roomba.
DJ Roomba is the best.
I can't wait for him to come back. All
DJ Roomba never say die.
All right. So I already forgot what.
Pop quiz.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Allison.
She told me she had a pop quiz for me, and I don't know what it is. I've been
just forgot.
studying and studying, but I didn't know what it was. So I just went on Wikipedia and read 97 different Wikipedia pages. 4 of them were about Britney Spears.
Just get ready. What are the 3 most beautiful words in the English language?
I've got some guesses.
Okay.
Your free pizza.
It's really good.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
More mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good too.
That's some dick.
I thought I'd really go with that one.
and then how about it's nap time.
Ooh, that one hits real close to my heart.
Were any of those correct?
No.
Okay, so Julie, then what are the 3 best, most beautiful words in the English language?
The 3 most beautiful words in the English language to read on a warning screen before your show that you watch is strong, sexual content. Yay!
Hallelujah! Oh, God, it's been too long.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long dry spell.
Woof. A droughtlander, if you will. I'm sorry, you guys. I really hate that word.
It's very silly, but it's good marketing.
It works.
So, hi, I'm Allison.
I'm Julie.
And that's Janine.
Hi.
This is Podlander Drunkcast, an Outlander podcast where 3 people drink and talk about Outlander, but also other things. Like, have you seen that video of Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury?
No, I've only seen the still.
Ooh, well, where the video, and I think he's lip syncing, but the video where he's doing the Live Aid concert, Jesus Christ, it's really good.
I actually looked this up this week. It is a combination of him singing, a sound-alike singing, so somebody who sounds like Freddie Mercury, by the way, please call me, who are you? And then Freddie Mercury's old tracks.
Cool.
So they blended it like digitally all together,
Ooh, wow.
which is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because it's somewhere near having a hologram in a sound way that I don't really understand. But I'd be interested to see it. I have heard that they gloss over the AIDS diagnosis in his life, which I find problematic, but he looks really good. He looks just like him.
His little jog on stage is really what doesn't.
Yes.
Anyway, we talk about Outlander 2. That's the bag.
Oh yeah, by the way.
This is the 2nd episode of our 3rd season, which coincidentally is also the 2nd. Is it technically it might be our 3rd episode of the 3rd season. Are we considering Wizard World a bonus episode?
The bonus.
Okay. So the 2nd episode of our 3rd season, coincidentally, also the 2nd episode of Outlander's 3rd season.
It's called Surrender. Surrender.
That beer's good.
It's good, isn't it?
This is the part where we tell you what we're drinking.
Today, I don't know if y'all know this, but Empirical Brewery opened up by mine and Allison's house, which is incredible. And today, for the first time, yesterday, for the first time, they're able to sell growlers from their premises. So all the growlers were half off. So I got a $6 motherfucking growler of their Aroma Dance.
Which we should say, just in case you don't live in like the city or a place that can sell growlers, because this was a new thing for me in Chicago. Right. It's basically a giant jug that you would picture like a bluegrass band playing off of.
Oh, you would picture 3 X's on it and some hillbilly outside of passed out outside of an
It's
hour.
64 fluid ounces of joy.
Joy. Good.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Anyway, We Love Empirical, their original location is in, this is technically Ravenswood, yeah?
Yeah, they're Ravenswood.
They're Ravenswood.
Yeah.
But now there's another location in Rutgers Park, which just means that Julie and I are that much closer to death. But it's going to be a great death.
Before it was just me.
So congrats to them. We really love Empirical, and we really love this beer, which is Aroma Dance.
Aroma Dance. It's an American IPA. It is made with all sorts of different hops. I remember specifically Simcoe and another one that I can't remember right now because I'm too drunk. But it was fermented on mango. And then its tasting notes were like notes of mango, tropical fruit, and morning dew. I am not making that up.
But you know what? Hold on.
Morning dew. Think about morning dew just for a second.
It's really lucky because coincidentally I licked the ground this morning. I thought I was going to be able to make it work. You know what?
I'm going to be fair. I do get a little grassy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got some hops in IPA.
It's good.
Is it IPA?
APA, American Pale Ale.
Oh.
Which usually means it's slightly less hoppy, but it does have some.
Well balanced.
It's good. Anyway,
Fruity,
thanks, Empirical.
piney.
It's dirt.
It's
exploring the science of beer.
It's delicious.
Okay.
So we have gathered here today to talk about Surrender. And I'm really excited to talk about this one. Before we jump in, do you have general thoughts, Julie?
Well, I would like to set the stage for everybody. So obviously with season 3 here, you guys, I mean, other than episode 1, which we had to record late, but we're going to be current. So like I watched this episode today.
Yeah, most of the time, certainly for last season, we tried to make sure that we had seen every episode at least twice because we watched when it aired, as well as when I say our season 2, it was actually Outlander season 1. So when we were watching season 1, we had all seen the episodes, or Julie and I had seen the episodes at least once, then sometimes revisited more than once before watching. With these episodes, because you're getting them fresh, like straight from the draft line in a 64-ounce bottle with 3 X's marked on it.
Tastes like the morning dew.
Who knows? We might have different opinion about it a week from now if we have watched it again. We might change our minds entirely. We have no idea. But I thought this one was pretty good.
I did enjoy this one. So our friend Jen Moniz, her mother, Kathleen Moniz, is a Patreon supporter of ours, and she just happens to be in Chicago this weekend. And she told Jen that she wanted nothing more than to hang out with us and buy us a beer or to watch episode 2 with us. And so we made that happen. So Kathleen Moniz came over to my house with her daughter Jen, who brought 3 pints of gelato,
Oh, shit.
a 6-pack of Sriracha Ace, and a bottle of rosé, because they know how to do it. They're like Montel Jordan. And we sat down to watch episode 2 of season 3. And when the title screen came up to like warn you, and it said strong sexual content, me, Jen, and her mother Kathleen all cheered. Strong sexual content. We're ready.
Julie, I just realized the notebook I'm using, I discontinued for a while, and the notes previous to this episode, I was just looking down at it, and it says, they have to cross a silver spring. Oh. You're being clever, not wise. He tells her he can't stop thinking about tomorrow.
I refuse to get burned by that twice.
Anyway, sorry.
All right, so strong sexual content in Surrender. Whee! And the title card that pops up is a red coat, Martin Luthering a paper to a door somewhere, some
with
church.
a ponytail. You know how you can tell a red coat? Look for his ponytail.
Murtaugh sometimes wears a ponytail, though.
Yeah, but it's like dirty. And I mean that in the best way.
It is scruffier.
It's like he just tied it back because it was getting in his face while he was
sweaty on his neck.
While he was boning the handmaid. Whereas a Q, which is what they would call the ponytails for the red, his Q, they're all like curled.
Yes, and powdered.
Shiny.
And yes.
They look like they would be really fun to pull because then they'd go boing, as opposed to they'd be really fun to pull because then
you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a red coat nailing a poster to a door, and then he moves away, and we see what is maybe the most hilarious pencil drawing of Jamie with shitty long hair and a beard wearing a hat. And it seems that he's being known by a new name. You guys? Gonna sing you a little song right now. Get done bone it, 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 get done done it. How you gonna do it if you really just wanna hide by living in a cave? Done bone it.
Got the bun bonnet.
So Jamie has another new nickname. So he's been Red Jamie, he's been a weak seaman, and now he's the Dunbonnet. And he's
Dunbonnet.
a brown hat.
Ah.
Because he wears a brown hat.
I forgot to do a spoiler section. We're going to do, I'm hoping you're all listening to these back to back. We're going to do 2 spoiler sections at the end of this episode.
We'll do it. Sorry. So Dunbonnet, specifically speaking, they say it's because he's trying to hide his red hair. But let me tell you a little something. Janine, he is wearing his Dunbonnet on top of like fucking carrot top red hair like Weird Al Yankovic. I mean, curly, weird ass red hair. It's not like he's trying to hide his hair.
Well, it wouldn't catch in the sunlight as easily.
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
It's probably because he's not washing it. Because he's not practicing self-care right now.
He's also not fucking coming out of that cave during the daytime most of the time.
No, you're right. He's hiding in the cave.
I mean,
Get Dunbonnet.
I'm looking at these photos on IMDb.
Not good.
Well, I'm not going to talk about this. We'll get to this at some point because we're just talking about a pencil drawing, right?
I wrote, Redcoat's posting a wanted notice. Yeah. Jamie is hairy. And he's the Dunbonnet now. And then we flash back to Lollybrock. And Fergus is back.
So let's raise a glass to Roman
Belfinche.
Where is he?
Now I have to look up his Twitter bio. I wonder if he still has the same Twitter bio.
12 years old, French, actor, likes dogs. Or something like that.
Fergus isn't on the list.
He's in there.
He's not on here.
He's in there.
Well, look up Roman.
He's not on IMDb.
Well, it's probably just.
Oh, there he is. Because he's at the top. I'm so used to him being at the bottom because of all the other people involved. Right. But it's Fergus.
He is a focal point.
Roman
Janine, I cannot wait for you to hear what happens to Fergus in this episode because you don't know, and you're gonna know.
That felt like such a plug for like a Real World episode.
It is.
So, first of all, it used to be tiny French actor who is French or some shit like that. It now just says French actor, 16 years old.
Oh.
Because he's grown. But I want you to know he's got a pinned tweet that says, "A promise made is a promise kept. I received a kilt, my dream, from Katrina and Sam Hewen. I am so proud." And then there's this picture of him wearing a kilt.
Oh, how cute. Is that the Fraser tartan?
I don't know, probably.
It might be. That kind of dusky blue, slate blue with the black and red.
He is good at his job.
So here he is. Fergus is at Lillybrock with Rabbi McNabb, which if anybody remember back in the day when there was this shithole drunk who was beating his kid at Lillybrock and then they just took that kid in?
So it was real complicated because Claire, because she's a shitty time traveler, decided to stick her nose in something she didn't quite understand, which is not to say that you shouldn't stop child abuse. Mm-hmm. You absolutely should. But what she didn't know is that Jenny was already trying to figure out the best way to get him out of the house. They have a plan and process. There was a whole thing they were going to do without bringing down the ire of this volatile, violent drunk. And instead, Claire was just like, I'm just gonna kick this bee's nest because I bet it's gonna be delicious.
Fuck you.
Then Jamie is sort of strutting around, acting like he owns the place, which technically he does, but he doesn't really get what he's doing and all of that. Anyway, they end up basically adopting Rabbi and taking in also his mother, Mary, who ends up being essentially the cook and like the number one lady about the house,
the number one lady about the cave. Too, but we'll get there. So Mary is there in the house, but this is focusing on the young boys.
Oh, so it's Rabbi, and Fergus, and Jamie, who you remember as a very cute toddler that liked his Auntie Claire,
and also the one that Jamie came in and accused Jenny of having from Blackjack Randall, and it's like, fuck you, dickbag.
It's not enough that I have to live with my shame. You must name your bastard son for me.
Yeah, anyway.
And she's like, fuck you, bro, and she kicks him right in the kilt, right in the spot on.
So the little boys are running around free on Lillybrock, and it's probably pretty great, and nobody's watching them. So they go to the house where they keep all the pigeons. Why? I don't know. No one ever explains this. And then they're looking for something in the pigeon house, the coop. And they give it another name.
Coat? Is it a coat?
No, they're looking for the gun.
No, what I'm saying is, isn't it called a coat?
Coop? I'm
going to look this shit up. You keep talking.
But it's like essentially a very tall room with tiny little square holes with hay in them where pigeons roost. And then Fergus goes in there and you can tell that the boys are arguing about something like, no, it's not there.
Dovecote. Fucking nailed it.
Nice. So fucking Fergus, I don't know if he's got like gun sense or whatever, just starts crawling up these holes and like puts his hand in one and comes out with some fancy ass pistol, which is great. You're like, oh, 3 little boys and a gun. What could fucking go wrong? Like, welcome to America, where every day this happens and somebody shoots their sibling.
It is even worse than that. Mm-hmm. So, true fact story thing. After the Jacobite Rebellion, all kinds of shit got outlawed in the Highlands. You couldn't wear a tartan anymore. If you notice, nobody's wearing a kilt anymore. Mm-hmm. I think Ian is wearing a kilt, but it's basically like a utility skirt. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's a real thing. It really happened. And you weren't allowed to own weapons. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this gun is here is obviously someone hid it there for a reason. Mostly so it wouldn't be found. But then Fergus is like, pew, 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 let's run around and be assholes with a gun. I love you, Fergus. I'm really sorry. We're going to get some really sick burns in on you in this episode, and I think that's only fair.
Yeah. So the little boys are playing with a gun, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And then it flashes to the front gate of Lallybroch, and boop-a-da-boo-boo, redcoats show up. Great. Feels like this has happened a lot to them. Everybody is part of a routine. They are coming to ask about Red Jamie. Where the fuck is Red Jamie? And they're like, we don't know. We haven't seen him. Why do you keep coming here and bugging us? Why do you fucking keep coming here? And Ian, I'm going to tell you, Ian is the number one brother. He is tight under pressure.
Yep.
His face is perfect. He's got a great, vacuous, dumb white guy look.
We cannot give you what we do not have.
He's really good at it. And these guys are just drilling him and nothing changes in his face. His face stays the same the whole motherfucking time. And they're like, all right, we're taking you to jail again. Boop, boop. Get in the wagon, one leg. And everyone at the house is like, because obviously he's been to jail more than once. So the redcoats can obviously figure out that they know something, but they can't get anything out of them because fucking Ian is number one brother. And then this is the first time we hear somebody say the Dunbonnet.
I think so.
One of them says Dunbonnet, and then the other one says Dunbonnet.
Dunbonnet.
So we don't actually know how to say this word.
Just so you know, I'm going to insist on saying any number of variations, but they're all going to be in an incredibly thick and really terrible accent. Dunbonnet. It's the Dunbonnet. Sorry, everyone.
I turned you down. I saw it coming.
Okay, thanks. I can only do one accent really well, and that is my own. If I really amp it up and give you the full Southern treatment, white trash treatment.
Give me the Dunbonnet in the Arkansas twang.
It would be Dunbonnet. Dunbonnet.
I can't do accents.
Dunbonnet.
Dunbonnet. Get Dunbonnet. Anyway.
Dunebonnet?
Dunebonnet?
Dune boogie.
Dunebonnet?
Doing it. Dubone it.
You guys, you were just here for the creation.
It was a prophecy all along. It was hidden right in front of us, right in plain sight.
I couldn't even see it. Damn.
Oh, the Dune bonnet.
Okay, and then we see...
And then... He's gone.
And then we see a full body shot of Jenny. Guess what? She's fucking pregnant again.
God damn, Jenny.
Number one brother likes to get it on.
Is this the one where Jamie... No, we are not to Jamie yet. Never mind. Okay.
No. So the redcoats, they're so funny, and they leave with Ian. But we also realize that one of the redcoats, the particularly nasty one in this particular situation, is actually Scottish. So he's just a dickbag who joined up with the victorious party afterwards and is now using that to inflict harm and grievance upon his fellow Scotsmen. And so he's like a special case of douchebag. He'll come back.
He will. And this is a character that's an invention for the show. And I think it's a really smart invention for reasons we'll talk about later. But God, what a dick. And importantly, he and Fergus exchange words where Fergus, in his little tiny French actor accent. It says like, "You are a traitor to your people. I do not eat frogs. I eat delicious cheeses and I drink French wine. And you wear a red coat and have turned your back on your people."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, kid, fuck you."
That's pretty much
basically.
it. Yeah.
But obviously gets aggressive and creepy in a way that honestly the others do not, which is not to say they're good. The captain of this particular group, there's a really funny moment when Jenny lists like what feels like 115 different captains of British platoons who've come looking for the Dun Bonnet. And she's like,
Bonnet.
Captain Smith, Captain not Captain Randall, Captain Jones, Captain Menzies, Captain Hewen, Captain
And she's got a
Smith,
whole list.
the other Smith, and then Captain the third Smith.
The third Smith. She's got like a list of all these dudes. So this has obviously been happening a lot.
But they all, while they're bullies and they're douchebags and they arrest poor one-legged Ian for no fucking reason, they all act the way you expect British soldiers to act.
Except
and then
that
there's
one.
this one like rabid dog. You know the one.
Yeah, you
that
know
you
him.
you can tell right away. You're like, you are bad news.
So Ian rolls away in the wagon, and then all of a sudden we get a shot at the woods, and it's Bigfoot. No, it's Jamie, you guys. But he's like way back in the trees, and his hair is big, and he's a shadow, and it literally looks like Bigfoot took my baby.
It does. It's
Oh, shit. That's what happened to mine. That's what happened to mine. Hold on, you guys. We have a fan emergency. Stack them back together and get the little guy through them, and then you just have to hold it.
you too aggressively fanned.
Anyway, so Jamie's back. We see him. He's skulking around the woods. It's not so good.
Guess who's back?
Back again.
Back again.
And then we
Jamie's
get a
back.
close-up of his face, and I laughed out loud. And I don't know what it is about Sam Hewen's face when he has facial hair or this ridiculous fucking wig they got him in. I don't know. It's not right, and it's not okay.
I don't think it's so bad.
I thought it was awful.
I think it's if anything, the costume might be slightly disadvantaged by how hard Sam Hewen is selling it, because he just looks like the epitome of a dude who kind of would prefer to be dead, and so he hasn't put the effort in. Like, he needs to exfoliate toot fucking sweet.
Toot sweet.
He looks, because I am looking at IMDb. That's where I get my images. He looks a little bit like the guy who just moved into the lighthouse.
Yeah, he's got that thing going
and
on.
Stayed there, and then 50 years later, he's crazy old guy. But that
He's got
he's
that
the
thing.
beginnings of it.
They call him in the thing at the end, they call him the wild man. And I think that is actually a pretty accurate description, which is why I think this look is a good one, because it's so dramatic as to be a little bit funny. But that is one of the most attractive men in the world, and I wouldn't want him fucking anywhere near
You know what?
me.
That's fair.
Not at all. He looks like he smells bad. He looks like he might hurt you. I would be scared of him.
Jen's comment was, that's Tombstone level bad facial hair. Like, think about the movie Tombstone and think
Yeah.
about some of the facial hair in that movie. It's not good.
Doc Holliday wasn't good. That's
Yeah,
true.
it's not good. But, I mean, I understand what they're going for here. I just think there's something about his face when you put a beard on it or he grows a beard. I don't know what the problem is. It doesn't look real.
I think he's over contoured, to be really specific. Because you look, it's like his eyes have shadows and there's shadows all over his face.
They're just trying to make him ugly. Guess what?
They're trying to make him look haunted. Mission accomplished. You could dial it back to maybe 9.
Yes.
Because you're at like 17.
Take it back a notch.
Are you guys going to talk about him hunting? Because that's an image I'm looking
Oh,
at.
that's coming up.
Okay, so
don't
then
you worry
I'm-
about that.
I'm waiting on that then.
That's going to be a very important segment. We've lost someone really important to us today.
So, it's true. R.I.P. No, it's all good. He never cared for us.
He had it coming.
Jamie stumbles in from the woods like Bigfoot through the Lallybrock gate, seeing Claire in front of him. She's so beautiful in all of her knitwear. She's incredible. And then she turns around and it's his sister. And I was fucking creeped out by that.
Yeah, but remember, he also thought that Rupert was Claire. I don't think it's specific to...
It's true.
It's like, wait, there's a body in front of me? That might be Claire. Ooh, look at that scarecrow. It's got vaguely
Is that
Claire
a tree
tendencies.
or Claire?
Exactly. Now we know why he hunted that deer so hard.
So I'm going to kill her. So he obviously is haunted by Claire. And I'm going to say this, Sam Hewen, also dial back your physicality for haunted maybe 5 notches. Because he's got this thing where he walks into frame like Lurch from the Addams Family. And I just couldn't.
It was a little much. I still think he does a very good job in this episode.
No, he does.
But it is all turned up a little high.
It's just a little too loud for me.
There's this image of him carrying a deer.
We're getting there.
Okay, thank goodness.
I told you, we lost someone really important to us today.
I want to drink my beer. That's what I'm going to do right now.
Just do it. My note that I wrote right here is Jamie is very sad. And that's because I'm being shady about the fact that he is showing us so much how sad he is.
And it's too bad because later it's like he started at 11 and then remembered that maybe the best way to show people you're sad is to be at 0. So he started at 11 and then went to 0 and then went to like a 3 and then sort of became Jamie again.
Yes. It is weird. It did feel like he was playing another character and not playing Jamie here.
Huh.
And I think even though and maybe that's true, like maybe that's how he approached it, and that would make sense because I think that's true throughout, but most of the time, for most of the episode, it works for me.
Yeah.
It does not work for me
at the beginning.
At this very beginning.
Yeah.
But you know who does work for me?
Jenny?
Fucking Laura Donnelly. Fan clap.
Oh.
She's also going to get one of these for me.
Yeah.
I love you, Laura Donnelly. All right, so obviously Jamie is hiding out in the woods on Lollybrock property. So that masterclass that was taught by number 1 brother Ian earlier was a total lie. He's been hanging out in the woods. And then we flash to mid-century modern Terror Dome, where Claire is fingering herself at night next to her husband who is sleeping.
Oh,
and
gosh.
she is having a sex dream about Jamie.
Or a fantasy about Jamie. And
Walking
this is
towards
maybe
a fireplace.
one of the funniest things this show has ever done. And this is another, I'm not sure this was supposed to be funny.
It wasn't.
But I hope it was because don't get me wrong, thank you. Oh, the butt shots.
Yes.
Even with the Cornish game hen back, it's like...
You look good.
He has a beautiful body and he looks great. But he walks towards the fire and you see his tush. And then he kind of like bends down.
Mighty Thews.
And then he turns around and smiles while the fire's crackling behind him. And it's ridiculous. It's not what Jamie looked like in the show.
Oh, really?
It's like romance novel Jamie.
Oh. Yeah.
It's not, it is
I think
so
that's on
obvious.
purpose.
I think so
Yeah.
too. And that's why I think maybe it was a little bit funny on purpose. It is so heightened. And Q1 really sells it because it's like he's got
cheesy
a
ass
halo
grin.
behind him and he's just going,
Hey, girl. That's totally what it is.
You want to time travel? I've got a dick rock you could touch.
It's going to only take 90 seconds to get you from here to there. So she has this weird ass sex
Is
dream.
that a baby in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? But it's really, it
was not good.
I want a gif of it. No, I think it was good. I think it was good.
I thought it was ridiculous.
Yes. I think it was ridiculous because
On
that's
purpose.
not, you look at any sex scene that the show has filmed, none of them look like that.
You're right.
None of that happened. She's not anywhere. She's not remembering the two of them boning. She's like, it's like she's picturing his Playgirl shoot. It's just, hey, oh, hi. The thing that feels the most real is when she's picturing him laying in bed next to her.
Yes.
But like, there's existing footage of Jamie's O face, right?
Yeah.
And that's not what they used. Hey,
girl.
Hey. So there's Claire, diddling the fiddle. Wow.
Diddling the skittle.
Skittle. Well,
the diddle.
and you know what? She learned from the best. So
She did.
Her,
Only took 90 seconds.
It seems like her masturbation skills maybe have improved.
I did note, perhaps they sleep on a Tempur-Pedic mattress because can't Frank feel that?
He's probably asleep.
Also, Frank seems like the kind of guy that would kind of go, okay,
fine, whatever.
If you got to.
But then she turns to the side and sees Jamie's face and is very sad. And then all of a sudden, we flash to the next day, and there's a title card that says 1949 Boston. And then we see the cutest baby meatball.
Yeah, cheers to baby casting. Yeah. Whoever cast this baby or series of babies, it's probably like 9 triplets, and they're all named like Tad, Thad, Bad, Mad, Sad, Brad, and
Glad,
and Gloria. And but this little nugget is so cute, chubby, cute, funny, wonderful.
Just a cute baby.
Yeah, a very cute baby. And she's like walking around her house, jiggling the wee bear.
Puts her in baby jail.
Yeah, and goes, here's a rabbit. And then hands her a rabbit.
And then sits down to read the Boston Globe like any fucking woman of the world.
Fuck yeah.
And then reads something about... What is it?
The independence of Ireland, which is like a really cool choice. So obviously another actual event of history. And she says, you're going to want to listen to this, darling.
And then she looks up and her little wee meatball has turned over on her own. And this is a milestone for babies. And Claire freaks out.
Aren't you a clever girl? You've turned over by yourself.
And then Frank comes home and they're like, oh my God, she's a genius.
Oh, well, Frank comes out of the shower.
Oh, that's right.
Obviously getting ready to leave for the day. So he walks in a towel.
Looking good, Menzies.
Looking pretty good, Menzies. Yeah, no, I'm not going to mesmer that. He was looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And... he takes
you know what
baby.
I didn't think about that, but that's important for what happens to her later. It's important.
So he takes the baby and they're cooing about how smart the baby is and Dr. Spock and this, that, and the other thing. And it's very sweet family unit moment. And then the baby's little hand touches his face, and then Claire puts her hand on his chest, and there is like an honest to God, slightly charged moment. Important to note, Frank came in and was like, my shower was dreadful. The hot water
went out.
It went out. It was terrible. And then he proceeds to go back upstairs for another cold shower.
I mean, get it.
That's a Jen Moniz joke. That's one for you, Jen. Because it's a little charged moment, and he's mostly naked, and she's holding this baby, and it's very...
Listen, at that point, you're just going, another?
When will it? Well, obviously he can't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
So it's more like, are they going to touch each other ever? Okay, fine. And then he goes upstairs, and then we flash back to Lally Brock.
Gosh.
The only note that I have here, and I don't know why, is Fergus. Bring it down a notch.
Oh, well, Fergus is being kind of a D.
About the gun, right?
About all kinds of things, but about the gun. Yeah, so...
it's him and Rabbi and Jamie.
So he's got
still roaming around, free range parenting, whatever.
Yeah. So he's got this gun. He ends up scoot-badooding out into what we'll call the Dunbonnet Woods. The Dunbonnet Woods.
The
woods of Dunbonnet. Anyway, he's out in the fucking forest, and he skirts to the cave, and we cut to Jamie in the cave, and he hears somebody go... And it's the bird that dresses Claire in the morning. Not really. It's Fergus. And he comes in and brings Jamie the gun and says, oh, we can use it
to start our own rebellion.
In the next rebellion. And rebellion. And Jamie is like, there's not going to be another rebellion. He's like, yes, there will. We must rise up against our oppressor. Oh, there's also another moment where Fergus is talking about how he knows how to use guns, but it's harder to kill a man with a knife because it's just you and him and the blade.
Steel. Oh, God, what an idiot.
Really,
he's literally 14
and then he says, I wish I could have fought a Culloden with my stare.
Oh, because
he's like a teeny tiny child, and he doesn't, like, to him, I think he worships
like, I was at the Battle of Preston-Pons and like all that.
Where were you? Shitting your pants. Because you are a small child.
It reminds me a little bit of the character in the South Park movie, the French Resistance character. He's kind of like that in this episode. I'm not going to lie.
Anyway, he ends up running up to the scoop-a-doo into the woods to bring Jamie this gun for them to start their own revolution. And Jamie's like, there's never going to be a revolution.
Get out of my
face. Weapons are banned. Put this where you got it. Never speak of it again. Get out of here. And Fergus is like, but you are a coward. Why are you such a coward? And kind of pushes him, and Jamie is not having it.
No.
So then he decides the best way to blow off some steam is to take out a fan favorite character, one of the most important characters in the history of Outlander.
It's true. It's true.
Fuck.
Jamie decides that he just needs to go.
Bagpipes?
He just needs to go with his bow and arrow out into the woods and just look around. And what does he see?
The fucking credits, dear.
He sees the credits, dear.
God damn it, credit deer.
And credit deer is in the wrong place at the wrong motherfucking time because
That
Wild
deer
Man
was asking for it. Why was it dressed like that?
Why was it dressed like that?
No.
The done bonnet was done on it. And then he just fucking pulls back that arrow, flip, dead deer. Then we cut to Jamie walking through the archway at Lallybroch with a fucking 400-pound deer over his shoulder.
This is the thing that, like, I just want to talk about going, what the fuck? Like, I mean, all these things
It's so dumb.
that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Obviously he would be able to do that because he's very strong and he's very tall. But
400 pounds?
It's also just like, okay. And he comes in with it, and this is the scene where he's a little tutu. This is the scene where he's got kind of like Frankenstein like stumble around.
No, it's the earlier one is where he stumbles. This one, because he just walks in and puts it down, and then this is the one where he's butchering the deer.
Right, but you can hear his sister upstairs.
No, later.
Oh, I thought this is when
Jenny has a conversation with him about, well, they took Ian, and so can you do this for me and whatever.
Can you look at the ledgers for the rents?
Yeah, and Jamie sort of grunts and isn't acknowledging her, obviously, like, just isn't acknowledging her. And she says, you know why it's easy to lie to the redcoats? Because Jamie Fraser isn't here. He hasn't been here for a long time. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. Where our brother, over and over again. And you can see Jamie kind of go like, oh, God. That's true. Would somebody please shoot me? I've just been waiting. It's been like 6 years.
Maybe somebody could kill me.
Can someone? It's been a really long time. Can somebody just please put a fucking bullet in my head, please? So he obviously feels guilty about the situation he's put them in. He's very concerned about whatever the fuck is going on with Fergus, but there's nothing he can do because it's time to go back to the motherfucking cave. So back to the cave he goes, back to the woods. Back to the woods, it's time to go to kill a deer, to eat a goat.
This is how long it takes Allison to sing. Okay, you guys, it was half of a growler plus another half, so a full growler plus a bottle of the pamplemousse.
That pamplemousse was just like the cherry on top.
That was kind of like water, though. It was like literally 2.5. So a full growler?
There's a scene in The Avengers where Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner says, "Do you want to know my secret?"
Oh yeah.
I'm always angry.
Do you want to know my secret?
I'm always drunk.
I'm always singing.
Pardon me while I pour more. Okay. So I forgot this part. How do we transition from Jamie butchering the deer in the kitchen, which they literally brought in a butcher to show him how to cut up a deer.
He did that?
Oh yeah.
It's cool.
Listen, we'll
talk about that. We'll talk about that at the end a little bit.
Cool.
But how do we get from that scene where she says you haven't been here for a long time to her giving birth?
Oh, he goes back out in the woods and he does some other things. I don't remember what.
Some
he's
sad
in
shit.
the cave. He's being sad and Fergus is pissed at him and everybody's pissed and whatever. And he comes back as he does.
He hears his sister screaming,
he comes
right?
back every once in a while, but he's just coming back. And he sees the back of a woman's neck, probably assumes it's Claire, stops, cries, maybe touches himself, cries some more, begs somebody to kill him, stands back up, and then sees it's Mary McNabb. And then hears his sister screaming.
And is like, what?
Because nobody fucking told him that she was having the baby, presumably because they didn't want him to come down because he could fucking get picked up by the redcoats at any time.
moment.
So Jenny is having the bairn again. It's coming early. Ian is still not back. And he marches off to help in some way. Because he comes to see to the ledgers.
Yeah, he comes to see.
Why.
That's right.
So like he goes and
because Mary McNabb is like, why are you here?
Yeah,
and he's like, to see to.
So Jenny,
ledger.
Basically, if I was to summarize the Lallybroch portion of this episode, it's that Jenny very slowly knocks some motherfucking sense into this man's head, with a side of Fergus, what the fuck. So he she goes into the house. Jenny's having the baby. We cut to the three fucking stooges.
The little boys with a gun. There's a raven on the fucking gate.
There's a superstition.
No. That's bad luck.
It means death. Mm-hmm. So she's having a baby. They have to get it off, despite the fact that they're in the fucking Highlands of Scotland and they're surrounded by fucking
redcoats everywhere.
Peat and rocks. Oh, I'm talking about the environment. Peat and rocks and pieces of wood and
just a piece
and
of wood.
Sheep poop and
other things that can throw at a raven.
All kinds of apples, horse apples, just everything, horseshoes. I don't know, whatever the fuck one keeps in a sporin, all kinds of things. I could really use a tiny hunk of a dragonfly in amber. Yeah. A sporin itself, a shoe, a chunk of your own hair, maybe a tiny child's hand. There's all kinds of shit that you could throw at this raven. But Fergus being Fergus, because he's having a snit, an understandable snit, a completely understandable snit. He's having a rough go of it.
I don't understand his snit.
Well, his father, Jamie is basically his father.
Right.
Has lost his goddamn mind.
Right.
And is hiding in a cave, surrendering to life. And he's this kid without a land and now without a family because Clara's gone too. So all he has are these younger boys to impress and then nothing else.
I see that.
And his dad is basically spending every day wishing he was dying. Because Jamie is Fergus'
The Walking Dead.
He's the Walking Dad.
He's Rick.
The Walking Dead, the Walking Dad,
the Walking
Eater.
Dad. The Walking Sad.
Yes.
The Walking Sad.
He is the Walking
Sad. Dunbonnet. Anyway, Fergus is like, wait, I got this handled. Clearly I'm the man of the house now. No one else is going to do anything. Let me skip off to the dovecote to get a wee pestle. And he takes this fucking gun and shoots it at the bird.
And you can hear it echo through the valley crash, crash, crash,
and he shoots the bird.
And then you see a redcoat turn around like this. Boom. And it's you fucking idiot.
So Jamie comes charging out of the house. What the fuck is wrong with you? Put that back where you found it. Immediately. Then goes charging back into the house. Goes and has a nice chat with his sister, who's just given birth
on a pile of straw
to a baby boy.
In front of a fireplace.
You look around the room and there's a big pile of straw from the fireplace. There are bloody towels everywhere. But she is in bed, delicately sipping a wee snifter of whiskey.
She does have some fucking whiskey up in that face.
It's
as I would too.
Nature's pain medicine. Mm-hmm. She doesn't need no fucking anesthesia, no twilight birth for Jenny. Mm-hmm. No, Jenny Murray does not need your bullshit. Mm-mm. She's gonna squeeze that thing out and then have a nice tipple.
Noon birth.
So she says, oh, you always look bunny you always look bro with a bairn in your arms.
Oh yeah, because Jamie's holding the baby, and he, we've seen this. He's good with babies.
Yeah, and she says, when is the last time you laid with a woman?
What's the transition there? Why does she go there?
Baby.
Because she wants him to be a father.
Because he's holding a baby.
Right.
Yeah. She wants him to have a life. And he says, just don't. She says, you never told me how she died. You just said she was dead. Not true. You said she was gone. But you just said she was dead. I don't know what happened. All I know is you're not happy and you deserve to be happy. Mary McNabb is still young enough to have children. You should find... And he says,
so I
will never marry again. And she says, brother, you need to come back to life, or whatever the fuck she says. And then all of a sudden, and Jamie takes the baby and walks out, and it's just doom doom down the hall, and then thump thump thump. Hey, we're the British, and we're here to fuck you up.
Literally, that's what they say.
And Jamie ducks into an empty room and hides behind a door
with the baby in his arms.
I don't think he would have had time to run to Jenny and then run and hide. They were at the door. He steps into this room and hides.
But he is literally holding the newborn baby, which can make sounds at any moment. And then the redcoats come in and straight up just stroll into Jenny's bedroom where she's laying in the bed, sweaty.
Listen,
you guys, okay.
These redcoats.
They're assholes.
There's a reason we fought for independence.
So they come in and they are dickholes to her.
They want to know where the weapon is. Weapons are outlawed. We heard a gun. I need you to tell me where the weapon is. That's the sound of them going to try to find the weapon.
Yeah.
Give us the weapon!
And she keeps saying, I don't have a weapon. We would never risk something like that. We would never have such a thing. We would never, you can search all you like, but you will never find it. They try to look under the covers, straight up her fucking nightgown. And she's like,
back off, bitch. They're tossing her drawers. They're doing all sorts of things. And then, one of them looks over and sees, literally, the bed of hay by the fireplace, blood all over it, and goes, Did you give birth? And she's like, yes. And they're like, where's the baby? And then it cuts to Jamie like, oh God, shut up. And she's like, the baby died.
Oh shit.
And they're like,
when it came out, it wasn't breathing. It was already gone.
It was already gone. And they're like, can we see the body? And she's like,
Yep.
that would be too much for me right now. So if
the midwife took it away to get it cleaned,
you could get out of my house. And then Mary McNabb.
And he's arguing, they're tussling, they want to see the baby, they obviously don't believe her. And then Mary McNabb comes running in and says, here's the gun, it was
with
mine.
a gun. It was mine. It belonged to my dead husband. And I saw a raven. And I knew that my lady
and she was having a difficult birth.
And I shot that raven because I knew it was bad luck. And then Scott's dude.
It's like these fucking Scottish and their superstitions.
He's actually Scottish.
You
right?
want me to arrest this bitch? I could just arrest this bitch.
And then the British dude is like, nah, man, nah. And they'll leave.
And he looks a little bit like
sad.
Like Mr. Lord Melton. And he's like,
side eye. Who is this guy? Why is he working for me?
who even hired you?
Yeah. Oh, God, you're the worst.
And he apologizes for troubling her and says, no more weapons. We're confiscating this. Consider yourself warned. And they leave. As they're leaving, Jamie moves his fucking foot. I don't know why. Maybe he needed to chase down another deer. But there's a and evil Scots dude. Scott's dick, the Scott's dick, the Dixman, there's a good one out there. The
Cotton Scott,
fartin. I don't know, fartin. The fartin.
The foreskin. No, something. He sucks. The guy who sucks. Stops and goes, meh? And then he's like, come along, you piece of shit. We're just going to call him piece of shit.
Piece of shit, POS.
And he trots down the stairs and leaves. Mm-hmm. Cut to wee Fergus traipsing through the meadow. Oh, and Jamie then goes through a very convenient secret door.
Wait.
And gives the baby back.
There's a cut to the future here.
Okay.
Cut to the future.
So Claire is asleep or trying to sleep one night. So I think this is right after Mary gives up the gun and the redcoats leave. Mm-hmm. And then Claire is laying in bed, not diddling herself to the fucking penguin romance Jamie, but instead looking at the very attractive man she has right next to her. And she's like, perhaps I should ride that dick. And she reaches over and touches him, and he wakes up, and he's like, Claire. And then they bone.
Bonage.
She takes off that nightgown. She's
Boom.
on top.
Also, really recovered from giving birth. I'm just going to say.
Oh, that was a very fat baby. That was a fat baby. That baby's not a newborn.
You're right. It's been a while. Because, 49.
I mean, it's been at least months.
So is she like, what's she doing? Like Thigh Master? Or, I don't know. Anyway, she looks good.
She looks very good.
And then
it's a work of fiction. Of course she looks good.
Of course she does. And she rides Frank into the sunset.
And he looks very
pleased,
surprised, but pleased. And they bone. There is some strong sexual content. And it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Are you sure this isn't the one we should watch?
No. Because there's strong sexual content later that is much more sad. So, no.
Oh,
sad and sexy.
Sexy sad.
So it cuts back to that. So you get to see that. They are reconnecting. And then we cut back to Lallybrock. And this is where Fergus just fucking...
So after Jamie gives the kid back, he presumably leaves.
This is where Fergus shows his hand.
So Fergus, this
is where Fergus overplays his hand?
Overplays his hand. Uh-huh. So Fergus heads off to see Milo. And he's traipsing through the Dunbonnet woods. And as he passes by, we see the Dixman, Scott's dick.
POS.
The POS.
Piece of Scott.
Piece of shit.
Piece of Scott.
Shot?
Anyway, he's a piece of shit, you guys.
Can we call him the Dung Bonnet?
Hey!
I think that's too close to get Dung Bonnet. I don't know. Anyway, he's a piece of shit, yo.
So the piece of shit and some other guy are standing in the woods watching Fergus walk.
And Fergus is like, I see you.
And as he's taking off, at first it seems like he doesn't know, but then he starts hearing them. So he literally starts walking in circles.
Fucking with
And
him.
he walks in circles in the forest in my dreams, it's for like 4.5 hours. And finally, the person reporting to the POS says, I believe he's leading us in circles, sir. And then the Dixman is like, yeah, I believe I didn't ken where we're going, but I think I fucking hate this kid. And Fergus turns around and says, you are so stupid. You thought I didn't know you were following me. I do not eat frogs. Why do you keep calling me a frog eater? He doesn't say any of that, but they keep calling him a frog eater.
But he also is a little dickbag. And like he runs away from them and starts giving them the finger and like he's being a teenage boy.
You are a traitor. You are a disgrace. The Scots people will never love you. They hate you. Blah, blah, blah. He starts running and he's infuriating this guy, this rabid dog. They run into another like patrol of soldiers and Fergus gets turned around, falls over, trips over a log. And the POS comes over and says, hold him down. And takes out his cutlass, whatever the fuck it is, his rapier, his giant fucking blade, which is a lot bigger than his tiny Scottish fucking dick. No, it's like a big sword. It's not a dirk. It's a big sword.
It's a big sword.
He's compensating for something, is what I'm saying. And the guy holds his arm down, and wee Fergus is just laying there terrified. And Jamie is hearing all of this, and you see him watching from behind a bush, unable
Bigfoot
to
style.
do anything.
He can't do shit.
There are 4 of them. He can't do anything. And they fucking cut Fergus's hand off.
His left hand. Boom.
Shit.
Right off at the wrist.
It's a really good effect.
It's great.
It's spurting blood.
Like out of the stump.
And Fergus is just staring at it, and everybody else is like, "What the? That is a child." And he's like, "Get your shit together, private." Whatever he does, it's not what he says, but he's basically like, "I don't fucking care about this kid. Let's get out of here." Boom, we're out. I'm an asshole.
Yeah, and then they leave. And then here's Fergus like bleeding out. And then Jamie comes over, fucking gives him a tourniquet out of belt. Let's stop this bleeding.
I saw my lady do this many times.
Tourniquet.
You'll be fine.
Here's this. Puts like cloth over it. And he's like, hold it. And then you see Fergus literally put his hand over the stump of his wrist. Like, And then they take him back to Lollybrock.
Jamie carries him.
We were not treated to the cauterization scene, which I'm sure happened. Did it happen in the book?
They didn't mention it, but there's a different cauterization scene in the book, which I think we might still see. Anyway, you know it was
Gross.
Jenny. You know Jenny took the flat side of a knife.
She looks at him and she's like, fuck this.
Shit.
Anyway.
And the shot, as they're leaving, the camera pans down to his perfect little hand.
Just underneath the log. Just a little tiny hand.
And blood all over the log. And you can see in Jamie's face that this is already like the last fucking straw. Like, he can't do this anymore. He can't just cause pain to the people around him anymore. He brings Fergus back. He's obviously distraught. He goes in. He has a little chat with Jenny about one thing and another. Do you remember? Mm-mm. It was a good scene because Laura Donnelly is good in everything. Mm-hmm. Basically where she tells him he has to come back and that Fergus is going to survive and whatever. And Ian comes back.
Yep, Ian gets out of jail. They bring him out and they dump him out of the thing and they're all assholes to him. The Red Coast are all assholes to him. And he's like, well, it's been a good visit, guys. And then just goes into Lollybrock. So, like, Ian is stone cold.
He's cool, bad as hell.
I'm just saying he's stone cold.
There's this beautiful scene. Jamie goes in to talk to Fergus.
And by the way, I need it to be noted that Jamie is still Bigfoot Jamie. So he's very hairy and he has a stupid beard.
And sad eyes.
And so very overly sad eyes.
Hungry eyes, one might say.
Bigfoot would have sad eyes.
He would.
Yes, you know what, he would.
Last of his kind. Mm-hmm. A lot like Jamie. Ooh, damn, that went there.
Too close.
Deep cut.
But Jamie...
Jamie goes into the
land of the lost. But they're screaming, Harry and the Hendersons. Somebody needs to Harry and the Hendersons Jamie right back into the woods.
Yes.
Anyway, Jamie is sitting there talking to Fergus about Fergus sometimes feels his hand there. It's obviously a metaphor for Claire, but it's really well handled. And it itches, and but he'll be fine. And Jamie is apologizing to him and wishes he could have done something and he should have done something. And at one point, Jenny says to him, if you had killed them, we would all be dead. You'd be dead. Fergus would be dead. We'd all be dead. They'd have come back and killed us. This is the only thing you could do. And so they have this conversation, and first of all, Madame has been most generous with the whiskey. So this little cherub has been drinking.
But he's also like, I prefer French wine.
I prefer fine French wine. And his little stump is all clogged over.
And he's like, and now I'm a man of leisure.
He said, basically, he's like, I feel I am most fortunate. Do you remember the promise you made to me, my lord? And Jamie's like, yes, I think I can. The promise I made to you. And he's like, oh, that is very good, my lord. Bonjour, 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 bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour, baguette.
There goes the keeper with his tray like always. Let's go to the Eiffel Tower when it's built in the future. And then... but he actually says, you promised if I was arrested or killed, you'd have masses said to me for a year. And if I lost an ear, and then Romain Beru, like side-eye looks down at his stump and goes, or a hand.
Fergus is smart as fuck.
And then Jamie goes, take care of you for the rest of your days. Fergus is like, yep.
Yeah. And now I'm a man of leisure.
With one stroke, I am become a man of leisure. And it's very funny and sweet. And Jamie says, you reminded me that you were so brave. And with all of this, you reminded me I have something to fight for. And then Fergus, it's a really good moment from young Romain. He says, there you are. There you are. There you are. And you can see, it's a good moment from Sam Huon too. You can see in his eyes that he's fired up again, that like he has to take action, because what Jamie does best outside of a 30-second diddle
or just like all night boning,
or an all night bone, or learning a zillion languages,
or like diplomacy,
or wiping grease on his face and then not fucking you.
Oh, God damn
or
it.
wearing a nice outfit, or having pretty hair, or hunting down a deer that symbolizes the life he lost and killing it probably with his bare hands.
Yep.
If there's one thing he's good at, that he feels
I just tried to pick
do.
up the growler to drink out of it like it was my glass.
Welcome to episode 2. It is taking care of other people. So it's like he remembers that he might not have much he can do, but he's not helpless and he needs to make choices. And you can see he gets a little fire in him. Cut to Jamie. And at this point, let's just finish the Jamie story and then go back to... Yeah.
Sure.
Jamie talking to Jenny and Ian. And he lays out this plan, which is basically...
Also, Ian explains phantom limb.
Ian explains phantom limbs to Jamie, and it's...
In Scottish.
Phantom limb.
Just kidding. He doesn't even know what phantom limb is. He's just talking about what it feels like to not have a limb.
And then sometimes you feel it's there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But again, obviously sort of a metaphor. And at this point it becomes more explicit because he says, I only lost a leg and Fergus a hand, but you lost your heart. What must that be like for you? Trying to get him to confront this loss that he is obviously letting ruin his life.
6 years. Yeah, fucking with. Yeah.
So he lays out this plan to them, which is that he is going to pretend to just show up for the first time in years
At Lallybroch.
as not the Dunbonnet, as just a guy.
As Jamie.
As Red
hey,
Jamie.
guys.
And
I'm home.
Jenny is going to contact the Redcoats and say, my traitorous brother contacted me. He said he'd be home on this day at this time. So we don't want anything to do with him. This should make it clear that we are not associated with him. Please come arrest him. Ian also let slip that they are no longer hanging Jacobite traitors. They are putting them in prison. So
Handy. Or not. Sorry, Fergus.
true. Oh, Fergus. And that way they can get their reward money, and the British will know that they are not complicit in hiding him.
And they'll quit coming to toss their house over.
And Jenny is really pissed. Like, deeply.
She does not like Win.
And he says, listen, this is what I can do. And she says, but you'll be spending the rest of your life in prison. And he says, you mean a different prison than the one I'm in now?
Woof.
Yeah. So long story short, they agree to it. He goes back to his cave. It's a good scene.
Hold on.
Yeah. So he's back there gutting a fish with his bare hands.
Just fucking being a wild man. Whatever you do.
And up the what we'll now call the bloody-handed trail. The old one-hand trail. Hashtag
the old Southpaw trail.
Hashtag goodbye one hand. And it comes Mary McNabb. And she's bringing like a basket of food. She's got a razor. She comes in. She says, do you want some company? And he says, company be welcome. She shaves his face and gives him a haircut.
2 bits.
Yes, I was going to say it, but I knew you'd get there.
By the way, you guys, he looks real good.
He looks very good. And he says, I'm going to go wash. We need to box up all this stuff, get it back to Lillybrock, take the books, burn the rest, whatever. Tomorrow is the day he's being captured. He leaves. And she's like, you're gone? Okay. And just starts taking off her clothes. Mm-hmm. Boom. Corset. Boom. Other corset. Boom. Other corset. Boom. Third corset. Glove. Other glove. Underneath glove. Second glove. Wrap. Secondary wrap. Third wrap. Skirt. Underskirt. Overskirt. Bustle.
Who's this again?
Jammies.
Mary McNabb. Yeah. Who's that actor? Is it on?
It's Emma Campbell-Jones. She was on Doctor Who on the Night of the Doctor.
Really? Mm-hmm. She's very good.
I looked her up because she is gorgeous and apparently in episodes that I really like of other shows. So
she's very good.
Yeah.
So she takes a follower. She's just standing in her shaft. And he comes in and he says, whose idea was this? This was my fucking sister.
Was this my sister?
This
Did
is
she
my
pimp you out?
meddling sister. She says, doesn't matter. And he says, I suppose not, but this isn't happening. And she just stands there and he says, okay, if you're not going to leave, I'm going to leave.
Bye.
And he marches out and she says, listen, your sister didn't put me up to this. I don't want to replace your wife. I know I could never replace your wife, but I think this can be something else, something good, but something else that we both need. And he doesn't look convinced and she takes his hand and then he looks so lonely and sad. Mm-hmm. And it's a very good little moment between these two. And then they smooch. And as he pulls away, she says, you can look at me if you want. And he says something like, no, I can't, or that's not what I do, or something, and begins to go back to kissing her with his eyes closed, mm-hmm. which will be important later when we talk about Claire's story. Mm-hmm. So they do it. Presumably he takes
We don't see it, though. I would like that to be noted.
I'm okay with that.
We do not see them doing it, and that's fine.
Fast forward, Jenny is standing. God, this scene is so good.
Oh, my God. Hold on.
Wait. Should we leave this for the last? This is the last.
No, you're right.
Let's do Claire. Let's do Claire and Frank and company.
Okay. So what has happened is that this doesn't do this. It's a.
No, I got it.
We've killed the growler. We're moving on to beers and bottles that they somehow thought we wouldn't need.
So we did not talk about Claire because there's a flashback to the future where she has dinner.
She's having a dinner party.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. She has a dinner party at her house with, obviously, her and Frank, and then her neighbor, Millie Nelson, or whatever her name is.
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
And Millie's husband, George? Jackass, whatever. Anyway, it's gross and, like, weirdly uncomfortable. And, like, Millie's husband talks about her food not being good, but that her talents lie elsewhere. Wink, wink, blow me, asshole. It's gross like that.
But she goes, stop. And then you can tell she kind of likes it. Mm-hmm. And then Frank and Claire are like, remember when we had sex that one time? Yeah. No, they're not like gross.
No.
They're talking about boning. We boned.
We boned last night. Do you remember what that was like? Because we haven't boned in years, and that was really good. And then Millie and her husband leave, and Frank and Claire have a whole shady-ass British conversation.
So she bakes a failed pavlova, and I think they call it, like, an Eton disaster.
Eton mess.
It really made me laugh.
Shady
but funny.
British shade is very cultured shade.
Those coats.
Yep. So Millie and her jackhole husband leave, and then they're like, Claire's like, what do you think her skills lie in? And Frank's like, obviously an encyclopedic knowledge of Shakespeare. And you're like, shut up, you shady bitch. And then Claire has had enough because she is thirsty and she wants more. And she pulls up her dress by the fire. By the way, where's the baby meatball? No questions.
Baby prison.
Yeah, baby prison. And she pulls up her dress. She's got her silk knickers. Knickers hit the floor.
Oh, and garter belt, stockings with garters.
But she doesn't take that down. It's just knickers.
Knickers hit the floor.
Knickers hit the floor.
I think it's a nice little callback to Mrs. Randall. I believe you've forgotten your undergarment.
You've forgotten your undergarments.
That's
and she's
nice.
like, literally, I am sliding my silky underwear to the floor.
And then there's
Frank starts finger banging her. They grab each other.
It's the beginnings of a very hot sex scene.
It is beginning.
They're like all over each other, and she's climbing him like a fucking tree, and he is on it, and then just like, whoom, he just lays her down in front of the fucking fireplace. She likes the fireplace.
She does like a fireplace, y'all.
A great place to get fucked and give birth. Fireplaces. This episode brought to you by Cobblestone Fireplaces.
So they start doing it, and then Frank is like, you can open your eyes. You can open your eyes.
Claire, look at me. Look at me.
Look at me, Claire. Look at me. And she's like, no, I am enjoying this. I am enjoying this.
And then he says, basically he says, you never used to close your eyes when we made love. And she gets real, she's like, what are you doing? We were boning, stop. And then, God bless him, he's so good. He looks at her, they're presumably both still covered in fluids, and he's got a halfie, and she's not wearing underwear. And he looks at her and he says, when I'm with you, I'm with you. When you're with me, you're with him. And it is a fair fucking point.
It's
because
real.
It's at that point you realize
this is never going to work.
She's not looking, it's understandable, but a little cruel. Obviously, there seems to be some part of her that genuinely wants to reconnect with Frank. There's that moment where she touches his chest, and that seems genuine, and she wants to try. She clearly wants to try. But
not sexually, though.
But when
it's very clear.
When she is fucking him, she's fucking Jamie. And it is hard. It is a rough moment. And that's where we leave it with poor Frank for the moment. We cut to Claire hoop-de-dooing down the street with her cute baby in a really fucking cute hat. And
it's like baby meatball with a little yellow knit hat.
Oh, it's so cute.
It's very cute.
And they're wheeling about, and she seems happy enough, and you see her with Frank a little, and they seem happy enough, and she starts a voiceover, which it's been a while. Mm-hmm. And basically says, for a while, I had everything I wanted. I had a man I loved. I had given birth to a child. I was able to heal people, but I started to realize that I needed something more. And then all of a sudden, we're in a very large round room with some cool ass benches in it. I love a bench. Mm-hmm. And she's standing there, and a douchebag looking guy comes in and says, can I help you, madam? Mm-hmm. Turns out Claire's there for her first day of school because she's going to fucking medical school. And he says, I heard we admitted a woman and a Negro this term. Ugh. How modern of us. And looks her up and down like she is a piece of garbage. And because Claire is Claire, she just goes, and turns and gets ready to walk into her seat. Then one bro is like, you're not sitting in my row, bitch. I don't want you to get vagina juice on me.
Cooties.
He went straight up. Seats taken.
Seats
pretty much.
taken.
Well, he stretched out his legs so she couldn't walk.
Dude spread.
Yeah, and then she goes to the next row. She walks down, and then there are some other dudes who are like,
nah, bitch.
Get back in the kitchen, you stupid slut. And she's sitting there, and then, moment more exciting for book readers than not. In walks the aforementioned person of color, and he's very dapper in a nice suit, and he spots her, walks right up to that row, sits down, and says, is this seat or stands there and says, is this seat taken? And she says, why no, it is all yours, please have a seat. He reaches out his hand and says, I'm Joe Abernathy, and she says, I'm Claire Randall, and they shake hands and start learning how to be motherfucking doctors. Joe Abernathy is the best. I cannot wait for more Joe Abernathy. It's like instant super best friends club. You can tell right away. I like that they don't pull any punches about it. That's just super best friends club from moment one. She leaves school.
She walks down the pathway, and then the pathway diverges over a bridge. She hears a bagpipe.
We're skipped a step.
Which one?
She goes home, walks into her bedroom. Frank is there. He's reading a book. They smile. They exchange pleasantries. She says, good night, and turns around to go to sleep. And he says, good night, Claire. Cut back.
Overhead shot.
Twin beds.
It's over.
Oh.
Yeah. Twin beds. Separate beds.
Stab.
Separate beds.
Damn.
As Neil Starbird says, it's the end of a marriage.
Oh.
Twin beds. So when we last leave Claire, she's walking, I don't know, through Harvard Yard. I don't know where
Harvard Yard, Park to Con, Harvard Yard.
She's walking through some commons, and she hears the plaintive strain of a bagpipe. As Julie said, you know you miss Scotland when you're like, what a beautiful bagpipe.
Because literally it's the worst sound.
She stops and listens, puts $1 in the case, which, because it was probably 1952 or something by then. Mm-hmm. Don't know how much time had passed. That's probably worth $97.14.
She's like, here you go, bagpipe player.
And just walks down the very long road to her future.
Okay, now let's go back. Jamie.
Because we haven't even gotten to the best scene in this episode.
Oh, no. That's why we saved it for the end. Jamie obviously had his sister report him. We know this. Jenny did not like when she agreed. So all of a sudden, we're back at Lallybroch. This happens earlier in the episode, but I think that our fans will forgive us for saving this for the end. He walks through the gates of Lallybroch, clean shaven, newly fucked, hair on point, looking great.
Jenny, it's me. I've come home.
It's me. I'm home. Like,
please notice that I'm standing here and that I am saying that we're in episode 2. Julie is just hitting lamps left and right.
I am here. Yeah. Sorry.
I am here, and this is the first time I have been here in many years. Look at me.
And then all of a sudden, redcoats are
and Jenny's got this look on her face that's like, oh, hi. Boom. Guns everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He gets arrested. She's standing there staring at him, and goddamn it, Laura Donnelly is. You can tell that Jenny is selling it, and also that Jenny is furious.
And Jenny also can do this thing. Laura Donnelly can do this thing where her entire lower eyelids are full of tears.
She can pool?
Yeah, she can pool without.
She can pool with the best of them.
Dropping the tears. So she is pooling, and she is mad. And because you know what the audience knows what we know about her, and we know that she did not agree to this. We know that she is acting to them, but also so pissed.
And she says, you brought this on yourself, brother, and I'll never forgive you.
And when she says when she says I'll never forgive you, Aaron, it's one of the greatest moments of acting I've ever seen.
What a fucking good moment.
It's so good because her face breaks for just a second because she really is saying, I'll never forgive you for making me do this. I'll never forgive you.
And Jamie looks at her, and you can tell that she is like,
fuck
very
you.
upset.
Love you. Fuck you.
He's upset, and then they hand her a big bag of gold and says, thank you for your loyalty to the crown. And off goes Jamie to prison. Boop de doop de doo. Have fun in the next section of this book. Boom, boom, boom.
Guys, why is this story so sad all the time?
Well, because life is sad, Julie.
And it's true to life, which makes it good art.
Can I go back in time to November the 5th?
Listen, I'm working on teleportation, and maybe we'll figure the time travel thing out.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Just so we all know, that's not true. It's actually quantum teleportation. Doesn't have to do time travel.
You keep talking like the FedEx man.
So it is a good episode with 2 sort of ending scenes, the endings of both stories that are just gut punches. Because those twin beds, they didn't hit me quite as hard as Laura Donnelly did, but those twin beds, they pack a real punch.
When they popped up, I literally screamed, twin beds, it's over.
It's pretty sad, but they're cute twin beds.
And that baby meatball is real cute.
That is a very cute little baby meatball. So, going to our scales before we do our MVP and then our double spoiler section, which we will keep short. I promise, Janine. Let's talk about costumes on a scale of, let's say Murder, She Wrote to Murder on the Orient Express. Ooh. Where are we with costumes?
Murder, She Wrote was actually pretty good for the 80s.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Angela Lansbury. And her constant rotating selection of cardigans.
Yes, I've got to say, I didn't really notice costumes as much in this episode.
Well, you were very distracted by one.
Which one? Well,
Bigfoot.
the beard, the Bigfoot. You know what? I'm going to give it Harry and the Hendersons. I really am going to give it Harry and the Hendersons. I can't stop myself. It's literally how I felt about it. So, Harry and the Hendersons, yay!
I think the mid-century costuming is really great. I love the choice of her being barefoot in the scene where she takes off her undergarments. There were some beautiful, her suit when she was in her class and some gorgeous coats.
It was very good.
That beautiful pram.
Her coat when she walked across the bridge and paid the bagpipe.
And her briefcase. Her purse and her briefcase.
It's good. Her gloves are always on point.
So I'm gonna go with, let's say, King Kong.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. The doing it scale. Finally, some stuff.
More doing it.
So let's go from. Oh God.
Some of it was sad doing it.
Let's do the Nicolas Cage sections of adaptation to the Chris Cooper sections of adaptation on a scale.
Well, our scale has never been discarded before. That's like.
Well, I mean, that movie begs for it. That movie begs.
That movie contains multitudes.
It does. Jeez.
I feel like I have to come up with an adaptation answer, though.
Catherine Keener.
The alligator scene? I don't know. Sorry. Fuck me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Here, I'll go first. I'm going to give it up Meryl Streep making a dial tone sound on the phone. It's very entertaining. Some of it really works, but I'm not feeling entirely satisfied. While I'm very satisfied by that scene, it's not, gonna fuck me, so. Yes, I agree.
If we watch the Howard Stern movie, like, that was the thing where he fucked someone with his voice on their speaker. Just saying, sound.
Maybe
Howard Stern is not the greatest example for me to use.
I am now less aroused.
That's fair. Listen.
Baba booey, baba booey.
Oh, God. No, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'm with you, though.
So, getting up to get a drink ratio.
I think this one was a little bit harder for that than the first one.
Let's skip the actual titles because we're just going to do Ken Burns baseball to Ken Burns something else anyway. So where do you think, if you could get up and get a drink, where would you do it?
I would probably have done it somewhere in the Lallybroch section. Somewhere in the Lallybroch section after Ian came back. I don't know. I would say you could probably get up once or twice. But the episode before this, I would say you could get up 3 or 4 times.
I probably would have gotten up during the death of Credits Dear. Because that guy, he was never there for us. Why should we be there?
He was never there for us. We tried. Like, we were friends with him before he got famous, and then he would never take our calls.
He just won't return our calls now.
You know what? He's dead now, though, so R.I.P., I guess.
He's going to live on in those credits, though. I'm going to start change.org petition.
What if
I'm
he's
going to
gone
do We
in
the
next,
People.
What if he's gone in the next one?
He won't be. I'm going to do We the People, and I'm going to say petition to substitute Death Rabbit for Credits Dear and Outlander credit sequence. And then in 2 weeks, I'll submit petition to substitute Prison Bird for Death Bunny.
Wait a second. This sounds like our next Twitter storm.
Yeah, that's right.
Twitter mob.
We have animals.
We can't Fitzmob an animal that doesn't have a Twitter account.
No, but we can Fitzmob the writers who have choices over this.
I'm just saying. We have many animals that we would like to talk about.
And I would like to talk about the bunny over the bird.
Here, we don't need to. I'm just going to start a Twitter poll.
I'm Team Bunny.
I'm just going to start a Twitter poll.
Like
You'll be able to voice your opinion. Most important animal for the credit sequence.
Maybe.
Death Bunny, Credits Dear, Prison Bird, or
I'm Team Bunny.
Colette the Biting Monkey.
Prison Bird.
Whoa, the monkey. There's a monkey.
Prison Bird every time.
But don't forget Colette the Biting Monkey.
Prison Bird every time.
You're forgetting that Colette the Biting Monkey bit the BPD.
That's pretty fucking good.
I understand that. But Prison Bird is a metaphor, a literal metaphor for Claire's entrapment in the future.
Yes, but Julie, the bite of the man is desirable. The bite of the monkey, not so much. But we could also include Master Raymond's stuffed crocodile.
That's true.
I'll take that. But I'm Team Bunny.
Okay. All right. So who's your MVP for this episode, Julie?
Jenny from the Lallybroch.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be another one where we're just going to be in agreement. Some good performances this episode. Tobias Menzies was especially good, but this is Laura Donnelly.
There is that last moment made me cry when she has the anger over the sadness. She's just very good at her job, and she did it very well.
Well, I am going to second Laura Donnelly, although I do want to raise a glass, which I'm now going to refill with a delicious beer from Brooklyn Brewery.
Sriracha
Cheers.
Ace.
Oh, I've got one, hon.
No, but we have to drink after we toast this.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
so,
all right. Sorry, Mike.
Romain Beru, little French actor who is
Do you
16.
think that's rap on him?
I suspect, Jamie's going to prison, and that kid is already almost an adult.
Yeah.
What are the odds that we see him again as a young?
I mean, the fact that they even were able to pull, because they used his adolescence and now puberty, which he's grown. He's a grown kid now. He's on his way to being a young man.
Mm-hmm.
They timed it just right. It's not like in Game of Thrones where all of a sudden Bran was 97.
Yeah, there's no way that kid's coming back unless for some reason that his next growth spurt just it grows hair out of his chin like the beard I have, and his shoulders and muscles
We
grow.
are very lucky that I touched the Dick Rock and traveled to 2017. No, traveled back to the 16th century and lived for several years, and then came back to this exact point in time so that I can now play the adult version of myself.
Listen, the thing is that you don't know is that I'm actually him.
Your accent's gotten so good.
I've been here
really
a while.
Good. I'm just saying.
I've actually forgotten my French.
You're American.
So yeah, I want to give a little runner up to Roman Baru, and also to what was her name, who played Mary McNabb, who I thought was
I can
also
find her.
very good. She
Emma,
was very good.
Emma Campbell Jones.
Very, very good.
Thank you for your work.
Emma
So-
Campbell Jones. Just in case you're listening, hi.
Call me.
So we are going to stick around after this little chunk where I say all the things I have to say every episode to talk about some book-related stuff in these first two episodes. Stay tuned for those if you want to, but for now, I need to thank all of our Patreon patrons. You're all wonderful, but particularly Amanda Newton, Beth Locke, Flourish Root, Molly Layton, Dr. J, Lara Magnuson, Friday Payton, Jen Lander Drunklin, and the great Kathleen Moniz.
Is Dr. J one of our new? Dr. J one of our new?
Oh no,
No, Dr. J's been around for a while teaching us fundamentals.
I don't.
Just teaching us fundamentals.
I'm sorry. I guess it was a good call out. I'm sorry. I've always been
Dr.
drunk at the end by this
J.
point, so my apologies.
If you want to be a patron, get bonus episodes, some other little perks, please go ahead and do that. Patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at PodlanderCast and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PodlanderCast, where you can partake in Your Welcome Wednesday, the best thing on the internet since cat gifts. You can
You
also...
guys, I apologize. I'm not very good at it on Twitter. I just want you all to know that I'm old.
No, you're just fine.
just
You
working.
can find Julie at Julie Starby. You can find Janine at Pagel_Aaron. And you can find me at Allison Shu. We are going to be back next week talking about the third episode in this season, in which Frank wears incredible glasses and Lord John Grey appears.
Frank's
very excited.
glasses have a Cary Grant thing that I want to touch.
I can't wait.
I'm just saying.
I'm excited for those specs.
They look good.
They look
Real good.
Real good. For now, if you want to go away, then go away. Stop listening now. We love you. If you want to stick around, and we're about to talk about some spoilers. Pretend that right here we're playing Yakety Sax.
It's actually been such a long time. I don't remember what it sounded like.
Dun bonnet.
That's not Yakety. This is good.
Okay, we're
Back to our regular scheduled program.
I want to keep these short because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. And if you have read the books, you'll know all the things I'm talking about. If you haven't but don't care about spoilers, just know that I'm still not spoiling very much.
I haven't, and I don't care.
Well, yeah, but Julie, you're the one that I'm couching these things for. So
But literally, really don't care.
I know, but you do, because it's a fun thing that we get to experience together. So first of all, the big point I want to talk about in the first episode, there are some really cool adaptive choices, but the thing that is the biggest for me, that made me the most excited, is that we don't know what the hell happens to Murtaugh. That is also true in the books for a while, and I won't say when we find out or what it is, but for much, if not all, of this book, if memory serves, it might even be in the next book, we do not know what happened to Murtaugh. He simply isn't mentioned. Jamie, there might be a line or two where Jamie thinks about him and it's painful, but we don't see him. He's not in the misery hut. Doom hut.
Sad house.
Terror hut at some point.
Yeah, it's all of it. It's all of that.
And there certainly is no section where Jamie doesn't...
Did you just say Doom hut, Doom hut, Doom hut?
Yes,
Doom hut. Yeah.
Doom hut, Doom hut, Doom hut, Doom hut, Doom hut. Where do Scotsmen go to get shot?
Oh shit!
Anyway, because we don't know, but Jamie does. It is clear that Jamie does in the book. Here, Jamie does not know. They make a point of calling out that Jamie does not know. And that makes me think that it is likely that maybe Murtaugh is escaping the Doom hut, and
Doom hut.
and perhaps we'll be seeing more of Duncan LaCroix. It would also explain... Are focusing back in now. It would also explain why this actor, who's so great, who just had this breakout role in this show, has like no other fucking IMDb credits going on his shit. And I wonder if it's because they've managed to keep very quiet the fact that he's returning. And that would make me so happy.
It would make me very happy too, because he is great and like a solid stone. Like, I can always return to him. I can always return to this actor to remember that there are supporting actors on this show doing extra good work.
Yeah, incredible work.
Because occasionally Sam and Katrina get a little fluffy.
I don't think she gets fluffy.
Sometimes I don't think she can help it because it's written, but I like it when there is somebody there to return to, and he is always a lodestone. Like, I think he helps keep it grounded. I think he helps keep it real.
And shit, I'm looking at his IMDb profile right now, which does have only the Outlander things as his most recent thing, but his like the look he gives in his like headshot and the potential I see for this gentleman to eventually play in other large supporting or even lead roles, though I don't know what that would be like for him. I'm excited. Like,
yeah, he's
good,
but I really, and that's why I think if he isn't booking other things, and they've teased out, where's Murtaugh? Where's Murtaugh? We don't know where Murtaugh is. I think that means Murtaugh's coming back. For those of you who've read the books, if you haven't read the books, don't look this up because I don't want to spoil anything for you. And just looking up who this person is would spoil giant sections of the plot. If you have read the book, my guess is that Murtaugh is going to take over the sort of plot responsibilities of Duncan Innes, a character who becomes a pretty major factor in the next book. So we'll see. That means we would also be seeing him relatively soon because Duncan Innes is he's a more minor character in this book, but it shows up at the prison, which means we could see him as early as next week.
Please.
But regardless, I think that Murtaugh is not Dunsies, and that would make me so happy because I was convinced. I thought for sure in the premiere we were going to get some great Murtaugh death scene.
I also remember you talking about this in our last season where you were like, you didn't feel like he had much time left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I am very optimistic.
Okay, that's great.
So fingers crossed. Is there anything book-wise that you were curious about from the premiere?
No.
Rupert is the things that Rupert do in this book are assigned to another character in the book. This was a really, really smart choice. He's in that wagon. Hal is a great character. You'll see Hal again. Okay. In this one of the things that's interesting to me is that the book sort of goes out of its way to make it clear that Mary McNabb is much older than Jamie and is also not particularly attractive.
Oh.
And I mean, I'm not bothered by the fact that she's young and beautiful. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think this woman's appearance should have anything to do with this scene. But that was a pretty big change. But the biggest change is that the person who shoots the fucking raven in the book is not Fergus being an idiot. It's fucking Jamie. Showing off.
Snap. Dun bonnet. Get done bonnet. Get done bonnet. Get done bonnet.
He does a series of really stupid things that put his family in peril when he gets really comfortable, and that is also part of why he leaves. But I think that this was a great way to tie the two big things that had to happen in this episode, which were Jamie getting trapped in the house with the baby while the Redcoats were there, and Fergus losing his hand.
Wait, question though.
Yes.
So part of Fergus losing his hand though is connected to the fucking douchebaggery.
Piece of shit?
Yeah. And
Piece of shit is an invention of the show.
Yeah.
That character's not in the
piece
book.
of shit. No, but Fergus's douchebaggery. Like, he was just being kind of a dick. He's being a fucking teenager.
Yes.
And so the shot to the Raven is an example of him being a dick.
Yes.
But also the shot to the Raven is an example of, or is a instance where the Redcoats and POS come back and start harassing them more.
Yes.
So in a way, the show actually heightened the ability to show Fergus losing his hand.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. Good on ya.
And the creation of that Redcoat who is actually Scotch, that's all the show. That character doesn't exist in the book.
Fair
and
enough.
I think that was really smart.
That's a good add.
Because as opposed to Fergus just getting his hand chopped off by some rando, it's somebody who we've watched become more and more dangerous
More of a
through the
dick.
episode,
Yeah.
which means that his antagonization of this guy is more understandable, but also way more stupid.
But I will say, though, it does lessen the responsibility on Jamie, which I think actually could. I mean, I don't have an opinion on this because I haven't seen the episode. Hashtag I've never seen the episodes. But the idea, though, that like Jamie could have been the one that instigated why Fergus lost his hand. Which would put a little bit more responsibility on him.
But Jamie would already say that it was his fault because
fair.
Fergus was coming. I think in the book, it's Fergus is coming to bring him like food, right? Because somebody has to come up every couple days to bring him food and books and news and let him know what's going on.
Everything is always going to be his fault, except for dying and bringing women to orgasm.
Well, that's definitely his fault.
Sorry,
Julie,
lamp again. Sorry, lamp.
That lamp's got to move next time.
So we're going to keep doing spoiler sections like these to talk about differences in the book. If it's too much for you or you think we're wasting your time, please let me know. Do we have anything else?
I feel good.
I just heard your jaw rattle.
Jacting.
Okay. On that note of perfect jacting from our dearest Janine, we are going to teleport out of here.
Yay, teleportation.
Thanks so much for listening. We will be back next week to talk about Frank's amazing glasses. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wait, hold on, Julie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.